Hey, stats folks, I wanted to do a little series of videos on different steps and kind of, show how I would approach these things. But this is not, one of the hard things about assessment assignments is that I want to kind of see your thinking about things. So I want to try to not just produce something that you follow step by step, but just to give you a more general sense of how to approach this problem. So I'm just going to copy what is written here, bring it over. I need to find a claim on the internet and evaluate it. I can use a resource like Pew Research Center, find another claim, questions to answer. So I'm going to start here with the Harris poll because how did I get here? I was looking at presidential polling, and then I was looking at the people who conducted, and so the Harris poll. Online panel. Let me see if this is a different page. Yeah, and then I was sort of intrigued by this article about work culture. And then this link. So this is a pretty, according to the people who wrote this article, this is a pretty important claim. 78% of US workers don't take all their PTO days. If I'm going to go with this, I can start answering these questions. I just want to do one more thing to determine if I can go with this. Click on that link. Oh, okay. And I've got a presentation here. I've got that. It's going to give me plenty of things to choose from. And I feel good. So I'm going to move forward with starting to answer some of these questions. The first question to answer is, where did I find the claim? I'm going to start with making some notes to myself, then I'm going to circle back. I'm going to make a paragraph. So harrispoll.com, found from the 538 website on presidential polling, picked article because I was interested in work culture. The claim that's being made, this is now I need to get specific about which one I'm going to choose. I could take the one that was in the sort of top line here, the 78% of workers say they don't take all their PTO. I'm just going to do a quick browse to see if there's anything else that, oh, this is that 78% number. It's kind of an interesting statement too. 83% satisfied with their company's paid time off policy. 65% find striking a balance between the commitments, work commitments, and personal time. All right, this one speaks to me. 65% of workers say of American workers say that they find it hard to strike a balance between work commitments and personal time. All right, who is being studied? There should be a methodology section here. So we were studying adults aged 18 and over. It says American workers repeatedly here, so I'm going to add that part. American workers over 18. Brief description of the methodology. So custom survey conducted online. It's a survey conducted online. It was done between April 26th and April 28th. Covers a range of generations, so ages, and worker types. Because you've got role, C-suite, upper management, middle management, employees. Okay, confidence level. So as we move out of methodology, it becomes unlikely that I'm going to see a confidence level statement here. And this is a presentation for people to consume the basic claims of the sample. Of course, the sample is supposed to represent the population. So I'm just thinking that I'm not going to find more information about the confidence interval. But the reality of the confidence interval is, and the margin of error, is that it can be determined based on the claim and the sample that was done. So let me show you how I would do that. Here's the formula that I provided here. So I need the Z-score. I can use a 95%. So first of all, I would say no confidence level and MOE were supplied. So I did my own. Okay, so using a 95% confidence level, let's start with the Z-score for that. So let's do Z-score table. All right, we've been here before. Got all these pop-ups that we're gonna have to get through. Nope. 95%. Now remember, 95% really means that I've got 2.5% on both sides. So I'm looking for the 2.5% line or the 97.5% line as my Z-scores. They'll be the same number, but negative. So if I find 2.5%, it's going to be, this is 0.25%, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. Oh, God dang it. I just had it. 2.5, bam. So that's negative 1.96. So my Z-score is 1.96. That's the number plus or minus 1.96 standard deviations away from the mean will get me 95% of the population. So back to this, erase my. So that means Z equals 1.96. And then my P here is my proportion. P equals 65%, which means 1 minus P is 35%. And N is 1107, if I remember correctly from the survey. Let's take a look. Get rid of this again. 1170. Now I'm just going to bring up an Excel file to do a calculation. So I've got to do Z, which is 1.96 times the square root of, and then I've got to do P, which is 65% times 35%, and I need to divide it by the size of the sample. So let me just double check all those pieces. 1.96 is my Z-score. Oops. I got P 65%. I got 1 minus P 35%. That's the complement of the proportion. N equals 1170. Looking good. So in this situation, I've got a 2.7 percentage point margin of error, which means that plus or minus 2.7 percentage points would be the margin of error I would use. So I would use 2.7 percentage points for this particular claim. And then it's very important that at some point I come back and make the more nuanced statement here. And these two questions sort of obliquely get at that, but I would finish this part by making the sentence. So we have 95% confidence that between, and then I got to do my plus or minus here. So I'm sitting at 65%, and I need to do minus 2.7 percentage points, and I need to do plus 2.7 percentage points. So it's 62.3 and 67.7. Between 62.3% and 67.7% of American workers did what? Find it hard to strike a balance between work commitments and personal time off. And so now that I've made the more nuanced claim, I definitely feel like this is reasonable and probably accurate. And why did I choose to claim? I often find it hard to find the balance between time off and personal things, and so this survey spoke to me. All right, now I need to take out the questions and put this into a narrative form of a paragraph. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all the stuff that I did. I'm going to delete that box because this doesn't belong here in my paragraph. Then I'm going to start pulling out these questions. And now I want to write a paragraph summarizing what happened. I started with the 538 website, and I was looking at presidential polling, since this is a very competitive election. I saw a firm called Harris X and clicked on a few links to get to other research that this firm had done. I picked this article about work culture because of the title, which was Millennials Are Quiet Vacationing rather than asking their boss for PTO. So now I think I've said what I needed to say for this. In the article, in the presentation, based on the research, I found a claim saying that 65% of American workers say they find it hard to strike a balance between work and personal time off. The intended population was American workers over 18, which I can tell from the methodology section. The survey was conducted in late April and covers 1170 American workers ranging in age and roles in the company from C-suite to regular employees. Okay, so now I've said those things. The confidence levels were not supplied, so I calculated the margin of error based on 95% confidence level using the formula provided. I discovered that the margin of error was 2.7 percentage points. And I would see Excel sheet 1 for details. So I'm adding a reference here to my own work because I am submitting an Excel part of this, but I don't need to like try to put the work into a paragraph. So then I would say, based on this work, I can say that we have 95% confidence that between 62.3% and 67.7% of American workers find it hard to strike a balance. And then I think I'm in pretty good shape. I definitely feel like this finding, English teacher would not want me to make what she called a naked this. This finding is reasonable and probably accurate. I often find it hard to find the balance between time off and personal things, so the survey spoke to me. So what I've done here is I have compiled my individual work into a paragraph, actually 3 paragraphs, to make sure I've answered all the questions. What's nice about the approach that I've taken here is that by splitting the questions into individual pieces, I've made sure that I answered each one, but then I reassembled it into a readable narrative that explains that I understand how to look at statistics and how to interpret them. This sentence right here is very, very important. It highlights me showing off my understanding of how the margin of error interacts with the actual number in the research. And I've got that 95% confidence level built into my sentence. Okay, hope that helped. I'm going to do another video for step 2 and step 4.